Yeah, very good morning. Am I audible? Yes. Okay. So here a lot of power cuts are there. Let me share the screen. Screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, do you have any doubts regarding previous class? Okay. If not there, let's proceed further. So, what we have done in the last session that we have given the formula for evaluating the surface integral of a scalar valued function g. Okay, and if g is 1, I will just let me give you that here. Okay, so we have given the definition, or it can be established by using the again the Riemann's approach. Okay, just what we have seen in the single variable case, it can be extended to the multiple variable. Okay, though here you will everywhere you will notice that the region is bounded. We are not working on the unbounded region. Okay, it's bounded and closed by a curve. Okay, so that is important again for the Riemann integral, because we have uh, seen that that's a necessary condition that the function should be defined on the bounded and closed and bounded interval. Okay, otherwise it will not be possible for to talk about or to approximate every function to be as a Riemann approximation. Fine. So that was an idea to give a formula for a surface integral of a scalar valued function g, okay, over the surface S. Okay, so d sigma, what we notice as the surface area differential. Okay, and which is, so here is d sigma. So where d sigma can be obtained, so when you have surface S given by this equation, okay, the surface area differential can be is proportional to the area element, okay, on the shadow region. Okay, so you look at the shadow of the surface S over the like two-dimensional plane. It may be xy, it may be yz, it may be zx, okay, or any other. Okay, so you just look at that and just uh, uh, then you can that over that region you can find out that proportional constant is going to be this. Okay, right. So p cap is nothing but the unit normal to that shadow region. Okay, and that we have all these things we have already seen. Okay, now Now, how will we talk about the surface integral of vector field? So instead of scalar valued function g, if you have a vector valued function or a vector field given by f, and it may be a multi-dimensional x comma y comma z, three-dimensional or two-dimensional and so on. Okay, how would we handle that? Okay, so the very first definition in this regard is to be when we'll say a surface is orientable. Okay, the name itself is suggesting you what do we mean orientable or two-sided. Okay, if it is possible to define, so you have a let's say a hemisphere, okay, or a spherical shape also you can look at. Okay, so this is a orientable surface. Okay, two-sided. So if you are able to define a means like a normal field. Okay, so you take any point on the hemisphere and you will define a unit normal to that. Okay, in the positive direction means outward normal. Okay, you work with the outward normal. Okay, and that varies continuously with the position. So at any point you just find out the unit outward normal that will lie in the same direction and cap in the hemisphere case. Okay, on the whichever side you will see. Okay, and it varies continuously with the position. Position means it should be in outward normal only. When you start with the outward normal, generally it's a positive direction we just consider. Okay, inward normal is the negative direction. Okay, right. So means like it's an expansion and that is a contracting, in other words. Okay, right. So if it is, if on the we call a smooth surface as so it has to be also defined that what do we mean by smooth surface. Okay, so so that that definition we will give in the just a few minutes later. Okay, it will be in terms of parametrization of curves. Okay, and what will so if you recall that that a curve C is we say that C is smooth. Okay, when the curve C is smooth, if you have the parameterization R of t, then you have dr by dt. Okay, is continuous and non-zero. Is continuous and non-zero along the curve. Okay, so that then we will say that the curve C is smooth. Okay, in the case of surface, okay, you will see instead of that you have a tangent or means like normal, right? Okay, so you will talk about the normal. Okay, that we will come into when we means like C is parameterized by this vector R of t. Similarly, we will also give the definition for how to parameterize the surface S. Then we will define the definition of a smooth surface. Okay, so in other words, smooth surface is a surface which is a very means like where normally whatever you require the condition met in practice. Okay, so that that in roughly we can say. Okay, right. So we say that a smooth surface S is orientable or two-sided if it is possible to define a field and cap of unit normal vector on S that varies continuously with position. Any patch or subportion of an orientable surface is orientable. So that's a very clear. If you take a small part of this hemisphere, you just make a means like you take a cutter and you just cut it like a hole here. So that part which is coming out, okay, is going to be again is going to be orientable surface. Okay, so here in the next bullet it is written means what are the possible examples. Okay, so spheres and other smooth closed surfaces. Okay, for example, you have like a cone, okay, or a cylinder. Okay, those are orientable. Okay, so by convention, we choose n cap on a closed surface to point outward. So that's why I already mentioned that n cap is a unit outward normal to the surface. Okay, so that we are taking as a positive direction. Now, someone also interested in is means like an example of a surface which is non-orientable. Okay, so you may take a strip. Okay, you may take a strip from a piece of paper. Okay, rectangular strip. Okay, you take a rectangular strip. I'm just naming them A, B, C, D, the other edges. Okay, now what you do is, okay, you just band in such a way that A should meet to C and D should meet to B. Okay, so you have to twist this strip and make it possible to meet this as A to AD to A with C and D with B. Okay, so whenever you will, so you have this is A, D, and C and B. Okay, so this is how the as should be. Okay, so means it should be like something like is known as a Mobius band. Okay, so this is if you can work out with a piece of paper, it will be easy for you. Okay, so it may be I may try to draw it. Okay, means I okay somewhat like this. Okay, which is not self intersection. Okay, so here A, C, D, and B, they both are as a span. So this is known as a Mobius band. And which is a non-orientable. Why? Because what means on which point you will start with for drawing the unit outward normal. Okay, so if you continuously do go with it, okay, so what you will get is you will get at the same point you will get the outward normal in the negative direction as well. Okay, it will automatically change the direction when you come somewhere after some time. Okay, so that should not happen. Okay, so this will this will not happen unless the field is like not continuous. Okay, so this is this is this is an example of a non-orientable surface. So you can means like means like you can take this end cap as your pencil. Okay, you just make a Mobius band and you just take a pencil and straight means like you just draw the perpendicular, means like you just put in the perpendicular shape, and when you go everywhere continuous manner you will get in the negative direction. Nowhere means whatever the point you start with. Okay, so this is a non-orientable surface. Okay, right. So this is one example of non-orientable surface. Right. Okay. So here is the surface integral of vector fields. I am just actually going with the definition. Okay. So it is again in the same way, means you have this is f dot n cap. If you recall, this is an outward flux. If you recall in the when you call C f dot dr, okay, or it is also known as f dot n cap ds. If you recall on the planar region that's in C curve, this will give you the outward flux. okay, that we have seen. So when you have the vector field in 3 dimension, okay, so then you will have the double integral here. D sigma is again a surface area differential, okay. So the surface integral of a vector field F, also called the flux of this vector field F, across an orientable surface S. So first you need to verify that whether the surface S is orientable or not. However, it is already given you that that spheres and other closed surfaces, it's like a paraboloid, okay, and ellipsoid, okay. Other favorable surfaces are cone, okay, cylinders, okay. Those are orientable surfaces, or a plate, okay, or a rectangular plate, okay, and so on. Okay, so we will say that we will define the flux of F across an orientable surface S in the direction of unit normal N to S will be given by this. So it is very easy to now read it that F dot N cap means scalar component of F in the direction of unit normal to the surface S. Okay, so that will define the flux across the field, across the surface. Okay, and when you integrate over the surface area element S, that will give you the total outward flux of S. Okay, so let's deal with one example here. Find the flux of F outward through the surface F cut from the cylinder by the planes so and so. Okay, so how this cylinder will looks like is, I will just, so this is X, Y, and Z. You have a y square plus z square equals to 1. Okay, right? Yes, z greater than equals to 0. And cut by x equals to 0 and x equals to 1. Cylinder. So y square plus z square equals to 1. When you look into the yz plane, and when z is greater than equal to 0, it will define a semicircle. Okay, z greater than equals to 0. Now x equals to 0. So just a minute. Okay. So x equals to 0. So that will give you yz plane, and x equals to 1. So it will be like, so this is a cylinder stretched along the curve. Okay. So this is the cylinder. So this is x equals to 1 line. Just a minute. Okay. I think I'm able to draw it. Right. So means this is a cylinder which is generated through this. Okay. Now this is a surface which is you looks y square plus z square equals to 1. And now if you look at this surface, you whatever the point you start with, okay, so you can find n cap will move, okay, continuously over the surface unit outward normal whenever you take at any point. It is very easy to observe. Okay, so the surface of the cylinder is a smooth surface. Sorry, orientable surface. Okay, we have not discussed so far the smoothness. Okay, we will look at that as well. So we will look at parameterization and then we will come to that. Okay, So this will be a smooth surface. So the flux will be given by double integral over S F dot n cap d sigma. So now F is given to you. Okay, n cap is unit outward normal to this, and d sigma is surface area differential. Okay, so how will you evaluate that? Now, you see S is a surface given by f of x comma y comma z is equals to y square plus z square minus 1 equals to 0. This is a surface. So unit outward normal n cap is nothing but grade f divided by mod grade f. So plus and minus, right? So plus will give you the unit outward normal and minus will give you the unit inward normal. So that grade f is equals to, right? So fx is 0, fy is 2yj plus 2zk divided by mod grade f is square root of 4y square plus 4z square. Now this is equals to, so 4 is out with 2, so 2 will get cancelled, and square root of y square plus z square, because this n cap is lies on the surface S. Okay, so y and z will satisfy the equation y square plus z square equals to 1. Okay, so this total number is nothing but the 2. 2 will get cancelled. So you have this is yj cap plus zk cap. Okay, now what is surface area element is nothing but that grade f mod grade f divided by mod grade f dot. So surface area element, so shadow. What is the shadow? Shadow is nothing but on the xy plane is going to be x equals to 0 to x equals to 1, and this is this point is 0 1 0, and this side is 0 minus 1 0, and this point is 1 1 0, and this side is x equals to 1, right? So 1 minus 1 0. So these are the points. So you will have a rectangle. Okay, so R is the shadow region, okay, which is a rectangle, okay, given by this. Okay, so let me draw this rectangle now. In the xy plane you will have a shadow. Okay, okay, so x equals to 1. Okay, so y equals to 1 and y equals to minus 1. Okay, this is the shadow region R. So x is lies between 0 less than equals to x less than equals to 1, and y is minus 1 less than equals to y less than equals to 1. Okay, right. Now, so and what is the p cap unit normal to that is nothing but k in the z direction. Okay, so this is equals to mod grade f is nothing but the square root of 4y square plus 4z square divide by grade f dot k cap is grade f is 2yj plus 2zk. So 2zk cap dot k cap is 2z. So this is equals to, so you will have this 4 will get cancelled with this 2. Okay, and square root of y square plus z square is nothing but the 1. Okay, so this is going to be 1 by z. Okay, dA is missing. Okay, now what is n cap? What is f is here is also given that f is equals to just a second. So f cap is given to you yzi plus z square k. Yz z square. So you have so this implies f dot n cap is required, right? So n cap was yj plus zk. So yzi plus z square k dot yj plus zk. So that is equals to zq. So this implies outward flux double integral s f dot n cap d sigma is equals to double integral s zq time 1 by z dA, and this s over this s, so you have z square, so this will get cancelled. Okay, and over this shadow region R, okay, you have to get into this R. So what is z square on the surface? Okay, because f dot n cap is z cube. Okay, and z cube, that d sigma, okay, that's going to be dA, and our this z square is nothing but over the surface is going to be, you have this you have this relation y square plus z square equals to 1. Okay, because you are projecting on the xy plane, so z square equals to 1 minus y square. So this is equals to r 1 minus y square time dA. Now integration 0 to 1 minus 1 to 1 1 minus y square dy dx. Now this you can simply integrate now. So this is an even function of y you have, or you can just do it, right? Y minus y cube by 3 minus 1 to 1 dx. So upper limit will give you 1 minus 1 by 3. Lower limit give you minus 1 minus minus plus. So minus 1 plus 1 by 3. And dx integration is x, right? Because it's a constant. So x over upper limit minus lower limit will contribute only 1. So you have, this is 2 by 3. This is minus 2 by 3 minus sign plus 2 by 3. So it's going to be 4 by 3. Okay. So the outward flux, okay, of a vector field F across the orientable surface S is given. The value is 4 by 3. If you have any question, you can ask. Okay, right. So let's move to the parameterization of surfaces. So we have seen that in this when you given a curve C, you can always parameterize by a single variable t. Okay, with parameter t. Okay, so you have a two-dimensional, right? And now, when you are talking about the parameterization of surfaces, okay, so you need to have two variable or two parameter in your hand. So with that intuition, so you have a define in a vector R, which is depending on u and v. Okay, this component are also functions of u and v. It's very straightforward. Okay, that's notation is straightforward. That vector R is defined as follows, whose components are functions of u and v. So let this be a continuous vector function defined on a region R in the UV plane and 1 to 1 on the interior of. So now see, here is A less than equals to T less than equals to B. So T equals to A will give you the initial point. T equals to B will give you the terminal point. Okay. Any between value will give you the any between vector. Okay. So similarly, if you fix u equals to constant or v equals to constant, both will be constant, then it will give you a vector. Okay, so how would you interpret this on the surface S? That is important. Okay, so that we will try to learn. Okay, so let this be a continuous vector function defined on a region R in the UV plane and 1 to 1 on the interior of R. So like here, T ranges from A to B. Okay, but in the XYZ space, whenever we are talking, we are not nowhere we are looking at T. Okay, we have not given any arrow to T. Okay, now, so since you have a two parameters, so you have a UV plane. Okay, so in the UV plane, the simple geometry, what we can consider as a rectangle. Okay, sum A less than equals to U less than equals to B, C less than equals to V less than equals to D. So you can look at the simple geometry R. Okay, so that we will try to look at from the picture that how it will identify a vector on the surface S. Okay, when you fix u equals to constant or v equals to constant. So now I hope means it's very clear from this. If you look at this vector, if you fix u equals to constant, let's take u is constant. So if u is constant, so what it will identify? So v is varying from C to D. Okay, u is fixed, v is varying from C to D. So it will identify a curve. Okay, it will identify a curve. It's a one parameter family now. Okay, v is from C to D. Similarly, if you fix v at some value, okay, and if you vary u, it will define another family of or another curve, not a family of curve, another curve. If you fix v is constant, then it's a single parameter family of u, and which will identify a curve on the surface S. Now, so u equals to constant and v equals to constant. If you both will fix, what it will identify? It will identify the intersection of these two curves. Okay, so intersection point of these two, so that should intersect, and that will intersect at a point. Okay, and that will identify that vector R. So let me give you here. I'm having the picture. Okay, so you have a UV plane and you have this R. Okay, so u equals to constant and v equals to constant will give you this line, right, on this region R. V equals to constant, v equals to 2, v equals to 3, and so on. That will give you the straight line. Similarly, u equals to constant will give you the straight line. Okay, and you can enclose it by as suggested. You can enclose by a rectangle. Okay, so this is, let's say, A to B, and this is C to D. Now, u equals to constant. I told you u equals to constant. Okay, but it will give you a curve on this curve. Okay. Now, similarly, when you have v equals to constant, okay, it will identify a curve. So you will get an intersection of the point. Okay, that is nothing but that vector. So u equals to constant, v equals to constant, we'll identify a vector, and that is going to be identified on the surface S. So if you vary u is u, so if u equals to constant, will give you this curve, right? So let's take u equals to, this is a1. Okay, now u equals to a2. Okay, what it will give you? It will give you another curve, in some curve. Okay, another curve and so on. Similarly, v equals to constant will give you the curves like this. Okay, so they will identify their intersections will identify these vectors. Okay, their intersection will identify these vectors R, and which will identify completely the surface S. Okay, now important thing is we should be careful in a fashion, that means like you should not get a surface, okay, or you are not getting the repeated vectors. Okay, means when you intersect two, curve equals to u equals to a3 and v equals to some a2. Okay, so both will intersect at a single point. Okay, it will identify a unique point. Okay, for each fixing. Okay, so this is why 1 onto correspondence is required. Okay, so this is why bijection is important, and which will ensure that also that in other words, it will also ensure that the surface S will not cross itself, means there is no self intersection in the surface S. Okay, so these all are some view over the parameterization of surfaces, and which can be followed now. I hope so. If you still have any doubt, you can ask. Okay, so the range R will identify the surface S. Okay, or we will say the S is traced by R. Now R together with the domain constitute a parameterization of surface. That's okay. Now that's easy. The variables u and v are the parameters, and R is the parameter domain. It's also. Now, the requirement that R to be 1 on the interior R ensures that S does not cross itself. Means you will not have the repetition of the intersection points. Okay, if you have a self intersection, it may be possible that you will not have a 1 on 2. Okay, that you may look at some. Okay, right. So those geometries are too complicated again. Okay, having the self intersection surfaces. Okay, so we will not go over that. Okay, so but what we will do is we will just try to identify the parameterization of few surfaces which are very well known among us. Okay, so let's take first example is a cone. Okay, and let's try to identify the parameterization of this cone. Square root of x square plus y square. Let's take 0 less than equals to z less than equals to 1. So it will identify a cone in the XYZ space. Okay. So you need two parameter family. Okay, so this is a z equals to 1 and z equals to 0. And this surface is given by square root of x square plus y square. Now, we have already learned the cylindrical coordinates, which is an extension of polar coordinates. So I will do follow them. So x equals to r cos theta, y equals to r sin theta, and z equals to z. These were the cylindrical coordinates, right? So we will follow in the same fashion. So z equals to z, r cos theta, r sin theta, z equals to z. So now here you see you are having three parameters, r, theta, and z. We have to get down with the two parameters. What we can do, we can just substitute x and y here, and you can also get z in terms of r and theta. Okay, so z equals to square root of x square plus y square, and that is going to be r. So you have the parameterization, and again, r value is lies right from 0 to 1 because z is equals to r. Okay, and 0 less than equals to z less than equals to 1, and theta is from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so what is the parameterization of this surface cone is going to be r of r comma theta. That's going to be r cos theta I plus r sin theta j plus r k, where 0 less than equals to r less than equals to 1 and 0 less than equals to theta less than equals to 2. Okay, so this will identify the parameterization of the surface cone. Okay, now let's take another example of sphere. Okay, so example 2 is a sphere given by x square plus y square plus z square equals to a square. So we have learned that the spherical coordinates are x equals to r cos theta sine p, y equals to r sine theta sine p, and z equals to r cos phi. Now, since it's a now r, theta, and phi, 3-parameter family, so we have to get down to the 2-parameter families. So how will you do that? Because you know that relation x square plus y square plus z square equals to a square. Okay, that will lead to r square is a square and r is equals to a. Okay, so that will be a cos theta sine phi, a sine theta sine phi. We will do more work over these. Okay, so a time cos phi, maybe later when we try to evaluate the surface integral of vector field, we need this type of parameterization. And now theta is now, 0 less than equals to theta less than equals to 2 pi, and 0 less than equals to phi less than equals to pi. Now another example, let's take another example of a cylinder. Okay, so example 3 is a cylinder x square plus y minus 3 whole square equals to 9. 0 less than equals to z less than equals to pi. Okay, so now again, it's a cylinder, okay, that you can draw. Okay, you can draw that. So centered at 0, 3. So you have a 0, 3 and radius is 3. So you have a circle. So in the xy plane, okay, z is 0 to z equals to 5. So you have a cylinder z equals to 0 to z equals to. Now again, you can use the cylindrical coordinates x equals to r cos theta, y equals to r sine theta, and z equals to z. Now z is from 0 to 5. On the other hand, you have x equals to r cos theta, y equals to r sine theta. So you have a 3 parameter, but you have to get down to 2 parameters. So you are going to use this cylindrical equation. Okay, so you can solve this. Okay, so you have, if you solve this cylindrical equation, so x square plus y square plus or minus 6y plus 9 equals to 9. 9 will get cancelled. X square plus y square is r square minus 6 times r sine theta equals to 0. So from here, r equals to 6 sine theta. So finally, you can substitute r equals to 6 sine theta here, and you will get the 2-parameter family in theta and z. So finally, you have x equals to 6 sine theta cos theta y equals to 6 sine square theta, right? Yes, and z equals to z. So this will be giving you the parameterization. Again, theta is from 0 less than equals to theta. What is the limit of theta? Yes, can anyone tell what is the limit of theta? Yes,
Zero to pi.
yes. Why is this so?
In XY plane, it's
Hmm.
in both two quadrants. So you
Hmm.
can say from negative x, I mean from positive x to negative x. Okay.
Um, um, I didn't get you, but I think I can give here to all hint as well. See, when you are talking about the polar coordinates, means you are talking about from the origin. Okay, so but now you can, instead of that, you can also could have worked for x equals to r cos theta and y equals to 3 plus r sine theta, so that it will becomes the from here you are taking. Okay, but it is not the case. Okay, it is not the case. You are directly taking the polar coordinates. Okay, and that will give you this. Let me come to that graph. So from the origin, you always try to do. Okay. So from here, you at any points, you have this equation of this circle is r equals to 6 sine theta. Okay. So theta is measuring. Okay. These are the r. Okay. These rays. Okay. And now theta is from the negative, means positive x to negative x. That's going to be 0 to pi, anti-clockwise direction. Okay, but instead of that, if you take with r cos theta and 3 plus r sine theta, and so you are point of looking at here, okay, then you have the r is like this from 0 to 3, or maybe center you have to find is 0 comma 3. Okay, and means you have to r value is yes 0 to 3. Okay, and now then you have the theta is 0 to 2 pi when you look at the from the center. But here we are not looking from the center, we are looking from the origin. Okay, so from the origin, if you look at, so 0 less than equals to theta less than equals to pi. Does anyone have doubt here? Let me know. So in the xy plane, it will looks like. So you are again, I'm just giving you. So you are measuring here. This is r equals to 6 sine theta. That is the equation of the circle, and theta is lies from here to here 0 to pi. Okay, right. Now when you have a parameterized surface, okay, then how to identify the area, or means like surface integral of, again we will come to that formula now. Okay, now smooth surface, let's define that smooth surface definition. Now see, what this RU, this partial derivatives with respect to U and with respect to V, okay, will identify. Roughly. Yes, they will be the vector in the tangent plane. Okay, and what will be this RU cross RV will give you the normal. Okay, so that will give you this RU cross RV is never zero on the parameter domain if you have this condition. And means including the fact that that's a partial derivative of R with respect to U and with respect to V are continuous, then we will say that the surface is smooth. Means you have, in other words, you have tangent plane is varying continuously. There is, you can see, okay, or unit normal. So means like to verify that whether the surface is smooth or not, you have to verify that this cross product, you know how to perform this vector cross product by a matrix or by a determinant should never be zero on the parametric domain. Also, you need to verify that first order partial derivatives are continuous. Okay. Now, area of a smooth surface. So now this is what is area of the smooth surface, means surface area that was double integral of S d sigma surface area. Okay. Now that can be shown that d sigma, when you have this R cross RV, means you have a smooth surface. Okay. It can be shown that d sigma is given by this quantity. Okay. This proportional to this one. Okay. So I'm not going into that detail here. Okay. So we can directly adopt this as a formula. Again, the things are again going to be in the that similar concept, means like we have applied like Riemann in that Riemann approach. We have taken the patch. Now we have another parameterized surface now. So in the terms of parameterization surface, you will get in this form. Okay. And here also we have taken that parametric domain is a rectangular region A to B and C to D. Okay, right. So let me have the example what we have discussed. Okay, so we have already know what is the parameterization of this cone. Okay, and we also know the parameterization of sphere of radius a sphere of radius a, right? And we know the formula surface area of a sphere of radius a. Okay. So find the surface area of the cone z equals to this 0 less than equals to z less than equals to 1. This one way is double integral s d sigma. Okay. Instead of that, we are going to use the parameterization. Okay. Right. So we have learned that for the example 1, you have r of r comma theta is equals to, yes, what was that? Is x equals to r cos theta, r sine theta, y equals to r sine theta, and z equals to z, but z equal to square root of x square plus y square, so z equals to r, and 0 less than equals to r less than equals to 1, and theta is 0 less than equals to theta less than equals to 2. So we have all the things now. Now first we can identify that whether the surface is smooth or not. So for looking at the smoothness, you have to identify this r is going to be partial derivative of this vector with respect to r, means component wise partial derivative. So this is going to be cos theta I plus sine theta j plus k cap. Now similarly r theta is equals to minus r sine theta plus r cos theta is 0, right? The last term is 0. Now we have to identify, so these are continuous, right? There's no doubt about it. Cos theta sin theta minus r times sin theta cos theta, this component wise continuity is there. So in total, the partial derivatives are continuous. Now what you need to identify now, their cross product. So the cross product is r cross r theta is equals to this first row ijk. Now r was cos theta I, cos sin theta j, and a, and you have this is minus r sin theta, r cos theta, and that is 0. Now I cap component is 0 minus r cos theta minus r cos theta I cap, okay, minus j cap 0 minus plus r sin theta j cap plus k cap time r cos square theta minus plus r sin square theta. So that is going to be r, so sin square theta plus cos square theta, so r k cap. Okay, now see this this is never be 0 on the parametric domain, right? Okay, so so we can so this will identify that, right? So we have the definitions, if you recall, that this is never 0 on the parametric domain. Okay, so we have so this this certainly implies the surface S is smoothness. Okay, now another thing is, so now you can, now you have all the information. So from here, surface area is equals to double integral of S d sigma, and what was that? Is double integral mod of r cross r theta dr d theta. R limit is 0 to 1 and theta limit is 0 to 2 pi. So magnitude of this vector is nothing but, so I can from here, magnitude of r cross r theta is equals to square root of r square cos square theta plus r square sin square theta. So r square plus r square, so 2r square. So that's going to be r times square root of 2. Okay, so this is going to be integration 0 to 2 pi, 0 to 1, square root of 2 is out, r dr d theta. Now you can you can look at the, now you can evaluate this integral easily, right? R square by 2, so 1 by 2, so root 2 by 2 times 2 pi. So you will have square root of 2 will be the surface area of it. Okay. Now let's look at the surface area of sphere of radius a. Okay, so for the surface area of sphere of radius a is, you have x square plus y square plus z square equals to a square, and you had the parameterization was x equals to a cos theta sin phi, y equals to a sin theta sin phi, z equals to a cos. Okay, now from here, it's a theta and phi family. So you have the vector r of theta phi is equals to, you have x of theta comma phi plus y of theta comma phi plus z of theta comma phi. Of course, theta is lies between 0 to 2 pi and phi is lies between 0 to pi. Now what you need to get is r cross r theta cross r phi. So r theta is equals to, means component wise partial derivative with respect to theta. So minus a sine theta sine phi I component plus a cos theta sine phi j component, and k component is 0, right? Because partial derivative with respect to theta is 0. Now our phi is equals to, okay, sine phi derivative is cos phi, right? You have a cos theta cos phi, a sine theta sine phi, and z is a cos phi, so you have minus a sine phi a cap. Now you have to find their cross product. Okay, so which is going to be r theta cross r phi is equals to, so it's a long expression. Okay, r theta is minus a sine theta sine phi, a cos theta cos theta sine phi, and this is 0. You have, this is a cos theta cos phi, a sine theta cos phi. You have minus a sine phi. Now I coefficient is minus a cos theta sine square phi I coefficient. J cap is a sine theta sine square phi minus 0, that's going to be 0, so j cap plus k cap is going to be minus a minus, just a minute, a square is here. Now k cap is minus a square sine square theta sine phi cos phi. Okay, and you have minus a square cos square theta sine phi cos phi a cap. Now further, that's equals to Okay. So this was completed. Zero. You have this is a cos theta, cos p, a sin theta, sin p, sorry, cos p minus a sin p. So you have I cap coefficient is minus a square cos theta sin square p minus you have a square sin theta sin square phi and plus k cap is minus a square sin square theta sin phi cos phi minus a square cos square theta sin phi cos phi. So minus a square sin phi cos phi will be out. Cos square theta plus sin square theta is 1. So you have minus a square sin phi cos phi. Right? Directly that's going to be p. Now, what will be the magnitude of this is again, you can find out this implies magnitude of r theta cross r p is equals to square root of is you have this is going to be a square, square is a power 4 cos square theta sine to the power 4 phi, right, plus a to the power 4 sine square theta sine to the power 4 phi plus a power 4 sine square phi cos square phi is inside the square root. So that's going to be square root of a to the power 4 sine to the power 4 phi is out. You have sine square theta plus cos square theta is 1. So you have a to the power 4 sine to the power 4 phi, okay, plus a to the power 4 sine square theta cos square phi. Now this is equals to a to the power 4 is out. So it's going to be square a square. Sine square theta is out. Okay. So you have sine square theta from here, sine square theta from here. So sine theta from outside. Now what is remaining is sine square theta plus cos, sorry, sine square phi plus cos square phi. It is right. Okay. Sine square phi plus cos square phi is 1. So a square sine theta. Okay. So now finally you have the surface area is double integral S d sigma is equals to double integral 0 to 2 pi 0 to pi. Okay. And a square sine phi d theta d phi. And now this you can. Okay, so you can find out now sine phi is d theta. This is 2 pi a square, and sine phi integration is minus cos phi 0 to pi. So you have this is going to be minus 2. Okay, so upper limit minus lower limit, so it's going to be 4 pi a square. So this is going to be the surface area of the sphere of radius a. Okay, right. So let's close here. Okay. We will continue in the next lecture. Thank you. If you have any doubt, you can ask.